welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are looking at Snowfront. I absolutely love this stamp set because it's a real scene builder and you can use it for all times of year, but with Christmas coming upon us and starting to look at Christmas cards and things, I thought that we would look at it. Now, it's in the new Autumn Winter catalogue. Which is available now, and if you haven't received a copy and you'd like one, just let me know and I will be more than happy to send you one. This is on page 45 and you can see some of the cards and things that have been created from this. You can build, as I say, all sorts of lovely scenes from it. So we're going to work with this one today, and we're going to do a slightly different sort of card to sort of make it pop a bit. So what we need is we're going to do a square card. So this piece measures 4 3/4 inches square, because I want it to do it a map, but any square will do. And then you need a circle that's cut out of some copy paper, and we're going to use that as a mask. So the easiest way I find of doing it is you can do it exactly the same size. I've done this just a little bit bigger, only because I want to stick it down. So I've got some pieces of washi tape. These have been used a few times, so I know that they're not overly sticky. And we're just going to put those down in the corner because that helps to hold it. And then I always take retired washi tape that I have that are, you know, little bits at the end that I haven't used. You need to de-tack it, so on your trousers, on your hand, anything to de-tack it, because you don't want it to be overly sticky. You just want it to hold the corners in place. So we're just going to do that to hold the corners in place. Then I can pick it up. This is me picking it up carefully with my fingers, turn it over, and we have got the mask stuck nicely on there, which allows us the movement that we need. Okay, we're going to be using Pool Party, and we are going to be using a sponge dauber. You can use a sponge if you want to. The sponge dauber is quite nice because it allows us to have sort of smaller direction, you know, not as much of a wide space. So what we need to do is we are just going to create a little border all the way round the circle. So the best way is to put your sponge dauber halfway between the two. I don't think that one's stuck on very well. Halfway between the two, and you're just going to go round in the circle. Okay, so just between the two. So you can see there's quite a lot on the outside of the circle because we don't want a huge amount on the inside. We're just literally going to take it through. Now, it's like everything, you build it up as you go. I'm doing this probably a little bit quicker than I would do it purely for speed of video. But as I say, you know, build it up so that you've just got an edge. When we take it off, you'll be able to see it just gives that nice sort of silhouette to the mask. Now, you can use any shape you want, actually. You could use a square. You can use any of our shapes. If you happen to have something which is a tree shape or a bell shape or an oval shape or a whatever shape you want, it works with anything. So I just chose a circle because I wanted to do it onto a square card. If you're doing it onto a rectangular card, you might want to do a rectangle. As I say, anything that you want to do. You can actually just mask it off and not even do a circle at all, but I fancied doing a circle with this one. Okay, so just taking it round on the outside. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. As I've said with crafting, crafting is all about having fun. So now what we need to do is we need to take a piece of scrap paper, and we are just going to tear it. I need it that way, so we're going to tear it in half and just sort of give it a bit of a wave to it. You want sort of mountains and things coming up, so it looks sort of hill-like. So that sort of shape will work. And then we're going to put that across like this where we want it. And this is where we're going to get out the first of the stamps that we're going to use. Now, we're going to use the tiniest little tree on this. So there's several different sizes of trees. You can see there's a little one, a middling one, and going up, and lots of different trees. We want to use the tiny one for this one. And we then need to, let me see what I've done. I've moved my blocks out of the way. Did I do with, here we go. There we go. So we want a block. You can use any size block you want. I'm using one that gives me a bit of a handle on it. And we are then going to just sort of line it up at the top where that mask is. Oops, and we don't want it in blue. We want it in a good black ink. So whichever your preferred black ink is, use it in that. And we're just going to ink up the image, and then we're going to put it not completely on, so a little bit off, and then we can do a shadow part, and we're just going to sort of build those trees up, and they're just going to be poking up in the distance over the snow. And as I say, if you take them sort of on and off in different strengths, you sort of get that that quite sort of nice look to them. So that's the little tree. Let's just put that there like that for a minute, and I just need to clean this stamp off. I always try and clean my stamps off as I go. Okay, and then I can put that one back in its case because we don't need that one for the moment. And then what we're going to do is, it's me putting it back in the case, we are going to then take the pool party again, and we are just going to go over the top here because I want this part to just come through with more colour at the top. Now, you need to be careful, depending what sort of black ink you do, that you're not sort of muddying it too much with the black ink until it's dried. Then we are just going to slide it down just a little tad, because what I want is for there to be like a snowy ridge coming through. So I'm just going to take this along. And I've only done it a little bit because you don't want a big, huge ridge coming through. But it just gives the bottom of those trees that are poking through on the top a little bit more of a ridge coming through. And then taking that up into the edge again like that. So we can then take it off. And you can see you've got a rather nice sort of snowy look coming from there. Now the next one we are going to take at an angle, and I think we're going to have it at this angle here. And we're very simply just going to give a little bit of a ridge again. Because it then gives it that sort of snowy look coming through. And it can just come off to the edge like this. You don't need to do it too deeply. And then on this one, we're going to take the little house, I think, because the house will be quite pretty in here. So let's take the little house. And I'm actually going to take that off. That's a lovely snowy ridge there. And I'm going to put the little house in, sort of standing on its own there, I think. So I'll put the house in there, yes. So let's get our black ink again. And we're going to put the house just in this little space here. Give it a good press. And we've got the lovely little house there. And you can see it sort of going into that little snowy ridge, which is quite nice. And I'm doing it in black because I think it looks really nice as a silhouette. Okay, and then we are going to take the little reindeer, because I really love these reindeer. I think they look very sweet. But actually first I want to have a focal image on this. So I'm going to take the tree, and if you want to have a really strong image, if you take you can stamp it and just make sure you've got a good pad, but this trusty Stamparatus, I do use the Stamparatus all the time when I'm doing sentiments or when I've got an image that I want to be as dark as I possibly can. So I need to stamp it a few times to get that real depth of darkness down. So we're going to take this out, and the nice thing with the Stamparatus is that you can just literally put your image down where you want it. So I'm just going to put it straight up in on here, pop a magnet down. Where am I going to put the magnet? Just there in the middle like that. No, I'm not, because I need the tree to come up there. I'm going to put it down on that side so it's not in the way. So that holds it down, and then I can position the tree. I want the tree to come not up over the top, but just sort of in the middle there, just by the side, because that'll give a really good focal point. So I can then pick that up. Got to be careful with the mask that it doesn't, that's it, come out too much. And then we can ink it with the black ink, but we can do it a few times, which allows us to get that really depth of colour. Because I want it really, really dark. So if you see on the first time, it comes out nicely, but it's not as dark as it could be. So by having the Stamparatus, it means that you can do it again and again, and now you can see how you're getting that real dark image coming through. And that's what we want, because this is in the foreground, so it needs to be the darkest that we can get it. And I can do it, as I say, this is what, the third, fourth time, but it gives me a really sharp, crisp, dark tree image, which is exactly what I wanted. So, as I say, don't forget your Stamparatus, bring it out and use it when you need to, because you can see that real depth of colour that I've got there. If you're doing double stamping, like the little trees in the background, then you don't need it. But for doing something in the foreground, it's really good. So while we've got it out, I'm going to take the tree out, and then I want the deer. So I did the tree first, so I would know exactly where I wanted the deer. And we're going to put the little deer, let me just get them out and put this one away in its case. So we're going to get the pair of little deer, which I absolutely love. I think they're such a sweet little image. And they're beautiful because they stand alone. But again, I want them sort of tucked in at the bottom down here. And it means I can do them several times again with the Stamparatus, so that I get a really nice dark image. Because first time stamping comes out prettily, but you can see, if you want that depth of colour, the Stamparatus is absolutely perfectly. Now you're going to get a shadow in there anyway, because it's got light and dark on the stamp, but I just wanted it to stand out. That's beautiful. To stand out just a little bit more. So we can clean that off now. That's it. The Simply Chamois is absolutely perfect for these when you're using the stamp race. In fact, it's perfect for absolutely everything. I use it all the time, and with us now being more environmentally friendly and planet friendly, baby wipes and things contain plastic and are not very good for the environment, so I've stopped using them completely. Right, now we can take this out of there because we don't need the Stamparatus again, but as I say, pop it in and out as you need it, because it is a really, really good tool, and it's very easy, you know, to have it and then not use it all the time. But for things like you know, sentiments, getting things darker, it works perfectly, because you can now see you've got that real balance. Now the little deer are actually sort of sticking out a little bit in the air, so we have a stamp here. Now I could do it with the mask, but I could also do it with, there's a couple of stamps here that will give the bottom. I'm going to do it with the mask because that's what I've started with, but this time I'm going to turn it the opposite way. So we're turning it so that it's coming down, and then we can take our pool party again and just sponge that in down to the bottom, because I want the bottom of this, making sure that my ink has dried. With me doing so many layers on that, I'm being a little bit cautious on there because I want to make sure that the ink has dried completely. I think it probably has, but okay. So if we then lift that off, you've got that sort of little piece that they're standing on, and you've got the layers of where the snow is coming from as well. So if we then take this off, and again, very easy to do because it's only just sort of hinged on lightly. You can just peel those pieces off, and I keep the washi tape until basically it's got no stick left on it at all, and then I get another piece, because you don't want it, as I say, to be overly sticky, but you then have a beautiful silhouette in the circle, and I think it looks absolutely lovely. So let's take this out of the way for a minute. We are going to mount it on. So this was 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. So the mount is Pool Party, which is 5 by 5. And then the card base is 5 1/4. But if you just put it like that, you can see how that makes an absolutely beautiful card. Now, you can add some Wink of Stella to it. You can add some glitter to it. You can add some of our, we've got this lovely shimmery crystal effects. You can put that on top, or you can leave it exactly as it is. You can put a sentiment on there. You can leave it without. I think it stands beautifully as a card. Very simple to achieve, and gives a lovely Christmas card. So that's the Snowfront stamp set, available now to make this beautiful card. So thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.